What is up, everybody? Say hi in the chat, and I will attempt to say your names. I'll say hello first. All of you people who chatted before don't count. All right, got quite a few submissions already. We'll get started momentarily, and I will drink some water. I have no clue how to pronounce this name right here. Carilana? Something like that. Hello. Cohen, hello. Jamie, what is up? Sing, hello. Curious. Hello. Carve, what is up? Give ourselves about one more minute to let people come through. And yeah, gonna get ready to rock here in a second. Wow, my concurrent viewers are absolute garbage. Only 28? What the hell is happening? My channel's been dying, by the way, just to let everybody know. I don't know what is going on. Why am I always shaking? That's probably because I'm constantly moving. Always like moving my legs and stuff. Yeah, the course is going, the pre-launch date, in case for those of you who don't know, is September 14th. So we are very close, less than a month away for a pre-launch where most of the course will be complete, but not all the way. And then, a couple months after that, the whole thing will be completed. But if you join during the week, if there's only 1 week pre-launch, if you can join during that time, you'll save a little bit of money. The hand. Oh yeah. Right here. So what it's all about. All right. The only reason this channel would never die is just because I'll be so freaking persistent. Even if 2 people are watching, I'll probably still do it. All right. But yeah, get ready for, when the pre-launch date begins, don't worry, I'm going to be spamming all of you through YouTube, Twitter, freaking Facebook. Yeah, you won't miss it. Email. I've got 14,000 people waiting who've entered their email at DesignCourse.com. Hopefully maybe 1% or 2% join, but I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully more than that. Okay, I'm not a great marketer. What is the Boja thing all about? Well, that's going to be, it's just a series that I'm trying to create to make learning design interesting and also help myself with taxes. See, because if I include my reptiles and stuff in my, my guitars and stuff, I can just write those off for taxes. People expect to see those now, and so it's a legitimate part of my business. There we go. All right, let's get started. So for today, for those of you who don't know, if you're new to this show, sometimes I call it the negative space. We're not being negative today though, because today's shtick, so to speak, is going to be me pointing out the positive things. I may point out some things that could be, improved, but very quick. For the most part, I'm going to talk about why things are correct about your design. And so details for submitting your stuff is here in the description of YouTube. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get ready to rock. Yeah, it's just I don't know what the issue is. I did have like one video that was really popular that blew up out of nowhere. It was a logo design course. It was 3 hours long, and then they stopped promoting that, and so that's part of the reason why the channel hasn't done great. But I'm going to be doing at least 6 of those episodes of the Boja just to see if it can catch on. A lot of people like it. Everybody who watches it really likes it. So I think it's just a matter of being a little bit, putting out a few more episodes and see if it really starts to gain traction and YouTube notices. Okay. Enough bullshit stuff. Let's get started with the first submission. So coming up here, where are we at? There we go. I worry about people not knowing they can click stuff on the terminal, but I like it as the site's gimmick. Okay, have an idea of what this probably is. Okay, let's get this enlarged rather. All right, let's refresh this, see what's happening here. So the first thing, now again, remember, I'm talking about the things that I like primarily. It's gonna be hard for me to get out of that mode where I'm trying to point out the things that are wrong. But I do, for the most part, like the color scheme. I like the type that you're using here, good contrast, and just the overall panel approach. I think though, let me see if there's one thing that I can improve, is this color. This color kind of doesn't match the rest of this. So I think if we change this to something like that, or if you want to go lighter, that way you can stick in the same hue. Notice if I refresh, you'll see the original. It's just kind of in a different hue. It kind of looks strange to me, but no big deal. A little bit more white space on top of this. But overall, the thing that I think really works here the most part is the color scheme and the contrast that are working pretty well. Next up, well, like I said, I'm doing, yeah, thank you. I'm going to be doing, what do you call, at least 6 of those episodes. I already have 2, so. The next one's going to be coming this Monday, I think. So, and today I'm going to be recording all of it. All right, let's refresh this and see what's happening. Create-a-See games, indie game development. All right, so you're making it a little bit difficult for me to point out stuff that I like, because there's a lot of issues occurring here. Like, I cannot see what's behind, like, it says cone maybe, and this shouldn't be hidden. Anything that's type needs to be in error. But I will point out the one thing that I do like is the fact that you're trying to be creative. This is obviously a very creative approach to listing out like projects and stuff like that. But one thing I think you need to definitely adhere to, the biggest issue is you're cutting off the name of the game with your overlay right here. So you need to get those pushed over in correct alignment. But I do like the creativity. That's the biggest thing that's going here that is correct. I would also say though, you shouldn't require people to hover over just to see these buttons. Make those buttons there all the way, because they're call to actions and you don't want to require the user to hover just to see them. Outside of that, keep going with the creativity, but I do think you really do need to adhere to some good UI design fundamentals. So if you haven't watched my fundamentals courses out there, definitely do so. In fact, the next episode of the BOSHA is all about design fundamentals. In fact, I'll give you a sneak peek real quick. I use Adobe XD for the designs. So like you'll notice some of this stuff, like if you watched my episodes, like my last episode, this all comes from Adobe XD, and then I poured it over from an HDMI from my video card out to an HDMI to RCA converter, and then the RCA cord goes into the old Commodore and also the Apple monitor for the green character, the computer character who talks. And it is all just coming from Adobe XD. This is going to be John Frock's attempt to try to design without learning fundamentals, and it looks like crap. And then the computer's going to come in and start going over all the various UI design fundamentals, and he's going to improve on John Frock's design and ultimately end up with this design, because this is what is going to be demonstrative of understanding fundamentals, and that you have to have a foundation before you can be a good designer. Anyhow, that was a teaser. Okay, now continuing on. Next up, Anna. This is my profile. I'm still working on it, especially in terms of responsiveness. All right, so I think I've seen this design before. Unfortunately, the snakes are downstairs in the basement. I just fed the smaller Burmese python yesterday, and the day before that, I fed a whole chicken to the big snake. You guys want to see that picture? If you don't want to see the picture of the big snake eating a chicken, look away now, because I'm going to show real quickly. It's not gruesome. It's just the chicken like is half in its mouth. Let me show you guys real quick. Are you ready? I'm telling you, don't look away. Don't look if you don't want to see this. Look at that. This is 17 feet. The snake is such a monster. That is the same snake over here in this corner right here. But yeah, she ate a chicken. Full. All right. Okay, so Anna. All right. What do I like about this? I like the smooth scroll. I like the very modern UI design approach. Yeah. I can do. This is like you're pumping yourself up here on your own website. I could do it. I can do this stuff. Ooh, look at that. Like this must be possibly SVG. It looks maybe not like SVG though, because it looks a little pixelated here. I'm not sure what that is or how that was achieved. That's pretty cool though. This is obviously a very solid design, and good front end development as well. Awesome. All right. Yeah, very good. I would say it's the modern design approach that I like. It's not cookie cutter, so yeah, very solid. Big Don, let me move stuff over. Big Don would be one to troll me and put like freaking adult content. He didn't, fortunately. So here we go. Let me drink some water. All right. What do I like most about this? I'd have to say, probably the simplicity. We have just overall solid use of a single primary color, which is this dark blue. And yeah, there's nothing objectively wrong about this. Although this right here, I'm going to assume maybe there's some sort of photograph is supposed to be here where they can click this play button. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be like that, but outside of that, yeah, this is all pretty solid. Now, for me personally, just this is a preference. Whenever I'm dealing with a light colored design, like a light background, I like to take Figma and change the canvas background color to something darker so that we can really see, especially like in this area where it's gray, a light gray, it almost blends in with the canvas background. So I like to make this dark, and then that way it really frames the design better. Adobe XD doesn't allow you to do that, which is why one of the reasons I don't really like using Adobe XD for web design and stuff. But yeah, this is pretty solid. It just nails all the points. There's nothing too crazy happening. Yeah, pretty solid. Let's continue on. All right, now what did they say? I submitted this 1 or 2 times already, but it wasn't good, so I improved it a bit. All right. Yeah, I kind of don't remember this part, so it's good at least you've been improving it. What do I like the most? Let me come down here and just look at this a bit. I do like this approach right here. When it comes to the UI design things, it's kind of like at DesignCourse.com actually. Like this approach right here. I got hair in my mouth. What the hell? But what I would like to see is probably make this a little bit less contrast. So, and that way you could probably think about putting something else here of some sort, possibly. But yeah, you definitely should have a call to action of some sort. Wow, I think you mentioned that. But yeah, that's probably the thing I like the most. I would add maybe a little bit more white space in between here. Also increase the visual hierarchy between this element and program. Maybe push this down further away from that area. And also I could see there's a lack of alignment where this one's down further. It's probably because of this icon versus this icon, but you want to try to make sure everything's perfectly on the same row when you design. But yeah, overall, I think this could work real well. Next up is this one, Chat Cube. What is Chat Cube? All right. All right, so I'm gonna tell you right now, the first thing that I really like about this design, I love this color. What color is this called? It's like a mix between blue and purple. That's a pube. I'm not gonna ban him for that because that's funny. All right, so I'm gonna say I like this color combination right here the most about this project, but I'm gonna have to say it's too boxy. So that's one thing, you know, I'm gonna have to mention. It's too boxy, and what you want to do is try to open things up. Not everything needs to be encased in a box. Like you could leave this here, this logging container white, but the rest of this stuff doesn't necessarily need to be put in their own separate containers because it just feels too boxy in that way. So get rid of that, make this stuff like white, and bring stuff in. It shouldn't be 100% fluid. Bring it into a container with a good white space on the right and left, and I think it would be a little bit more solid. Awesome. Yeah, it is silent fills. There we go. Continuing on. First 3JS project. Interesting. Let's refresh. Oh, look at that. That's actually pretty cool. So obviously I'm going to say I like the 3JS aspect and this random cursor sort of graphics that come in. That's really cool. That's the thing I like most. Yeah, if I come down, we get out of the 3JS container. We can see it ends probably right around here. I'm not sure why all this is over here though. This kind of seems randomly placed. But yeah, overall this is really solid. All right. Continuing on. Let me check where the hell did my stats go? Where did my YouTube stats go? Well, apparently I just closed it out of it. I'm gonna open that up on another monitor. Damn it. All right, going back. Sorry, I'm just trying to like figure out how I can get back to my stats. There we go. Okay. All right, very good. I like that one. Next up is, that's your first 3JS project. That's going pretty solid, by the way. All right, refresh. Design with us. All right. Overall, I like the font. This seems like it might be Poppins. Let's see what font. Yep, it's Poppins. I like this illustration as well. I do feel like it could be improved big time by just moving this somewhere else. Let me show you if I can real quick. Like margin. Ooh, shoot, not. Oh, that's moving the whole damn thing. What the hell? H1, the title. Title's misspelled there. What I would like to see, oh, okay, that's why, is take this and put it maybe right here and center it vertically, you know, between the height of this element right here. So like right around here. And I think it'll help frame the layout a lot better. But I do like, you know, the simplicity of the highest contrast possible, black versus white with a good font. I think this could be scaled down a little bit more too, though. But yeah, this has a lot of potential, in that area. One thing I would probably advise against though, get rid of the high contrast borders. Not too much of a fan of those. I do kind of like that. When you hover over them, you can kind of see like a 3D approach. I think that works better than just having them like this. All right, yep, pretty solid in that top portion at least. Next up. I don't care, I still like Poppins. All right, next up. Maybe I'll get sick of Poppins at the end of the year. Maybe in 2023 we'll start using something else. Montserrat, not so much anymore. I got sick of Montserrat. Once 2021 rolled around, I started abandoning it. Damn, I can't even talk. All right, refresh. Alrighty. I do like the overlapping effect, kind of more like that modern breaking out of the box approach right here. I do think it should be increased, the size, especially if you're going to go with a completely fluid 2-column approach for the brand and the navigation up here. Fill out this area a lot more. I bet it probably looks a lot better when we do this because it fills it out a bit more. So I would change that probably. Also, one thing I wanted to mention, notice it goes into the hamburger menu like right here, but look at all this space that you still do have left. So when you transition into a hamburger menu, you don't have to put every link there. You still might have a couple links like My Story or Contact or Featured Projects. You still have enough room to put those here. So you keep your most important elements, like you would still have room here even to put a single very important link. So that's something that I think more people need to do. I'd say the part that I like best about this is this area, but it needs to be increased. Hello, gal, my. All right, next up. Let's see here. I think I just clicked on this one. I can't even remember. Yes, I did. All right. Next up is from, is that Natik or Nat? I have no clue how to pronounce that. All right. Let's refresh, see what's happening here. What do I like about this one? It's the simplicity, the high contrast, and of course, oh, it's Montserrat. Actually, Montserrat's not looking too bad right there. It is a Montserrat and Poppins safe space here. Safe spaces. Unreal. I can't even believe we have that concept of a safe space. All right. What I would do is increase, look at all the white space down here. Look at the little white space up here. You know, use CSS, like the grid, to get that centered vertically in this container right here. And that way it's going to look so much better. Like for instance, like if I do this, if I can get this to work this time, you know, margin top. Oh, damn it. Margin top for M units or so. Like that's so much better than this. All right, so get that focused on there too. So the good thing happening here is good typography, good contrast, but it still could definitely be improved. Obviously, it's very simple, so it works for the most part. All right, now continuing on. It's a portfolio website that is under construction. And of course that person is in there and somebody else is in there with the cursor flying all over the place. Alrighty. Thing I like the most about this, I like the font actually. I do like this font. What is it? Playfair Display. So if I ever go for a serif font lately, it's been Playfair Display. I really like this one. I do think this is too big though. This needs to be scaled down a fair amount in order for it to be as effective as possible. So think about that. I do like this font as well. What is this? Roboto. That'll work. These two fonts, they complement each other so well because this is just a very simple sans serif font. And this is obviously a more interesting serif font right here. So those work well. Cool stuff. Next up, is this one? All right, next up. All right, so what do I like most about this? It's kind of like that other one. It's so simple, black and white, highest contrast possible with a font that is Poppins, so the typography is working. But there are some other major issues though that are really taking away from it. For instance, this is centered over here like in some weird container or column. This should be centered just like this up here is centered, and this is centered. That like throws off the flow completely. That's like 5-point deduction right here, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, why is that over there? What is going on? All right, so I would really focus on that. This type is too small. Try to really get a structured layout. This part's pretty good. This is all solid. But this is all really good, but it just seems like the quality of your projects are way better than what's happening here. So I would address that, but I do like, of course, the simplicity, the contrast, and the type. I think this is the next person. Yes, it is. A MERN developer. All right, let's refresh this. I like the illustration. That's a good illustration. It doesn't seem like it's one of those ones that are like way overused from those, you know, like the Humans Project or whatever it's called. But I do have to say, you know, when we're on these big resolutions like this, you need to containerize it. Meaning it shouldn't be all the way out to the right, all the way out to the left. Bring them in, because we have all this massive white space in between here. And because I'm on a 4K resolution and I want other people to see it, this is the default view that I have. So more white space, bring things in together, and that'll help things much better. Simple type. This right here, I guarantee you, is not going to pass your contrast ratios. As you could see, if you could see that little mark right there, it says contrast is 2.29, and it has a little orange exclamation point. That means there's not enough contrast here. You gotta boost that sucker up like to here. That's a lot better. It's not all the way black, but it's definitely, you can definitely read it a lot easier. Yeah, I know my screen is big. But sometimes screens are big, so we have to account for that as designers, right? Of course. Unreal. All right, next up. I know it's very incomplete, but I'm impatient. All right. Alrighty. I'm trying to figure out what's happening here. Talk about the glass morphism happening here. I think it's actually kind of cool. I do like this section here, like the subtle cards with the low contrast card backgrounds. I think that works well. I do think when it comes to this, almost feels like a desktop, you know, like with an app inside of it. It would be nice to have that just kind of more expanded out to the right and left so that it better fills out this this view. But yeah, so I think this section in the middle, I like that the most. The glass morphism, I think if you reduce the color here, like get rid of this yellow and try to stick more with colors that are adjacent to each other on the color wheel. This yellow one, I think, is just a little bit making it too colorful. So I think simplifying the colors and reducing the amount of hues in there would be advantageous. All right, next up, open original. Get this over here. This is still too small. Oh, there we go. All right. All right, so what do I like about this? I do like the black approach with the white text. You have great contrast. This section over here with the headline, subheadline, and your call to actions is all solid. I mean, there's good visual, typographic visual hierarchy between these elements. The call to action sticks out well. This right here seems to work pretty decently as your little illustration or image, which complements this section pretty well. I don't see anything that's like objectively bad about this. Yeah, pretty solid. Saw some type issues with that paragraph at the bottom. There wasn't enough leading or line height. Figma, let's check this one out. Oh my God, where am I supposed to look? I have no clue what is happening. Maybe if I hit play, it'll just start me somewhere. There's something happening strange here because I see it's your name, then your email's already floated up. I guess maybe that's just to show what happens when you focus in. Let me just take a look at one of these screens. What is the main UI, I'm wondering? It looks like a dashboard of some sort. Seems like this is the main UI. I do like this sidebar right here, but I do think it's a little bit too large, like for this navigation of a lot, like probably too much white space on the right and left, and this is just too wide. It's almost like it's like 1/3 of the design. I think we can make it 1/4 a little bit easier. So bring that in. I do like the icons, so that this is all designed well in and of itself, this little vertical navigation. I also like the type. Some of this stuff a little bit too low contrast. Let's journal another day, like that's way low contrast. But I like the simplicity, and probably I can see there's a very slight difference in color here. It's like the closest difference you can get. I think increasing the contrast between those areas would be a little bit better. Nice. Let's continue on. Let's see here. I think this is the next one. All right, so refresh this. Something tells me this is supposed to go all the way to the right. So it's a lot better if we do that. Of course, you'd want to fix that and make that actually go all the way out, regardless of the size of the viewport. But I like this approach. It's pretty cool. It's different. Obviously, it kind of kills the mood when you go right here to here because it ends at the top, and then this happens. But yeah, I would probably want to move this stuff up a little bit higher because there's quite a bit of white space. So you can just take this element, assuming it's wrapped in a div or a section element or something like that, and just margin negative top it or something, just so you can sit on top of this area a little bit closer up here. I do like the type, contrast, pretty solid. You do have some issues with contrast though, like this right here, this pink sort of text, pink, purple or whatever, is not contrasting enough. So run that through one of those contrast checkers just to make sure you adhere to minimum. I'm currently available for contract hire. Like this is like so low contrast. Few people are even going to see that. It's only 1.26. You need to be at least 3:1 ratio for larger text. So definitely increase that contrast. Another Figma file from Stark. Continuing on. All right. I guess I just need to pick a screen here. These people are all cut out very well in their high quality photographs. So that actually is pretty solid. It looks like this is an onboarding screen. Yeah, that's actually pretty solid. Yeah, I like it. I like that cool take on the hamburger menu. Yeah, this is all pretty solid. I think these could use a little bit more work. A little bit, like make this a little bit taller. More white space on the top and the bottom, or padding rather on the inside. Because they feel a little bit crammed together. But other than that, this is all pretty solid, especially the onboarding screen. I like that a lot. Nice. Next up is... This is one that was redesigned after feedback. Well, the good thing is I don't remember it, so you must have done a pretty decent job. A Discord bot. What font is this? Poppins. I should have known. I'm like, I like that font. Now, this is kind of the opposite problem that I see in a lot of submitted designs where there's, you know, everything's fluid all the way out. Now, this is containerized, but I would say probably a little bit too much. If you're going to keep it from here to here, at least take this part and push it right here on the same area. If you're not, then you can just... honestly, I think it needs to go out to like here to here and give yourself a little bit more room, make things larger. But I do like overall, for the most part, the type. I like the colors as well. A little bit strange though here is I could tell that this is tinted. There's more lightness in this login compared to this over here, and it's throwing off the design. I would use the same exact color for these, or if you really want to put the attention on the eye to the call to action over here as much as possible, just take login and either make it the same color as these up here, or just take the text, make it bold, and make it this color for the font color itself. And that way you don't have to wrap it in. And these two things aren't competing for attention from the eye, so to speak. Definitely going to want to adjust this down here where it says your email. It's like a gray placeholder, which doesn't work very well with this background. So what you want to do is use the hue on this background and then just add shade or darken this text right here. All right, and of course, you know, when I hover over it, it looks like it's not a floating label, so that's an accessibility issue, blah, blah, blah. All right, next up is right here. Someone tried submitting adult content. That's why people were talking, so we had to ban them. All right. What do I like about this? Oh, we got a cursor hijacking. Got this thing that like, get away from me. Oh, it's like chasing me. All right, so I like the color and I like the contrast. That's working pretty well. And your accent color here is working pretty well as well. However, for your call to action, I would probably use that accent, the orange accent color, make it the background. However, download resume, bad. I wouldn't do that because when people think of downloading stuff, that's just a pain. Like, it's files that are going on your computer and nobody wants to download something. So make it so that they don't have to download something. Like if I click it, what's going to happen? Is it going to... So this isn't even necessarily downloading it. Just put, instead of download resume, just view my resume. Just do that instead. Contrast issues here. Way too little contrast. Also, too much white space. You would benefit from having texture in the background somehow, or an illustration. There's something that could be done here for sure. All right, next up. It's this one. All right, Gavin. I didn't see that. This site is still under development. Gary, please go easy on me. Now I'm gonna go brutal. Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm just kidding. GP, I like the letter mark right here. I think that's pretty cool. Home about, all right. Now, one thing that's thrown off here is the glow around you when you go from dark. Like, that's a little bit, I don't like that. Good type. What is it? It's called Google. Well, look at that. Maybe I'm gonna switch to Google from now on. What do y'all think? I like the simplicity. I like the nav bar. This is all done pretty well right here. Obviously, I think this is a good color here. It contrasts well with the background still being white. Get in touch. I think it's a little bit crammed here, just a bit. And you're down a little bit too far. So like there's a lot of unnecessary white space at the top. So you need to try to figure out a way to make things larger and fill things out a little bit more. For your picture, I would bring this into Photoshop, and it seems like you're just a little bit washed out. I think we need to increase the contrast a little bit. I don't have Photoshop open, but I would just take the contrast and bump it up a notch, and maybe even increase the contrast with these very faint shapes in the background, because you can, like, they're watermarks, but there is such a thing as too much of a watermark where there's not enough contrast at all to where it's barely visible. So I would change that. Look at the same person. I understand it's a work in progress, but yeah, I overall for the most part I do like this. Continuing on, where the hell was I at? Oh, I already did that one. McLovin. Do I have potential for a design job or career? Well, let's find out. Wait, that's not McLovin. That person is not McLovin. All right. Now let's see here. Oh, we had a GP last time. Now we got a GK. All right. What do I like the most about this design? Alrighty. I feel that the colors have potential, but I think they need to be worked in and integrated a little bit differently. Some strange things happening here, like there's a little bit of white space around this area. It doesn't go all the way out to the side, so my eyes are drawn to that weird sort of like 20 pixel white border. Like, push that all the way out. And also I can see these are two different containers with slightly different gradients, and that doesn't work either. Make it all one container, use the same gradient all throughout. It's going to simplify things much more. But I do like the color overall, so that's going to be the one thing I'm going to point out. The color and the white, they contrast well together, but there is a number of issues that you could definitely use to improve this. Like, for instance, you have your picture here, and this is like a mobile design, but it's on a large desktop, so we have all this unused space right here. So you need to think about how you can structure things on a large desktop and then simplify them like this on a smaller, like a mobile device or something like that. Obviously, there's some major issues right here with the text kind of just falling outside of these containers. So that's, and then this stuff, like what is happening here, there's supposed to be text, but it's all overlaid on top of each other. Definitely some things to think about. All right, next up. Do you feel I have potential for a design job or career? I just wanted to look at this before I answer that question. Yeah, you have potential, you know. I feel like you could definitely improve in areas, but everybody has potential, right? I mean, it just depends on how much you're willing to work at it. And of course, you would definitely have an excellent chance at a design job or career if you join DesignCourse.com coming up on September 14th. Sorry for the spam, but let's continue. That one I viewed already. All right, refresh this. What do I like the most about this one? I like the creative approach for this area in the middle. I mean, this is definitely unique. You don't see things like this very often. We got the little floating icons, which is pretty cool. Call to action, I would say a little bit too much glow on that. I might reduce that a little bit. I would also like to see this whole thing made larger. I think it would work better. And up here, when you have kind of like this structured bar that goes across, but then we have this sort of organic area in the middle, these two kind of don't work well with each other. So what I'd like to see instead is to get rid of the background up here on this nav bar. And that way it kind of just draws more focus to this interesting area in the middle. See that? And then if we made it even larger, it would fill out this area more and it would be more interesting. So yeah, that's what it was before. Oh, don't worry, I am not ashamed. I'm going to be spamming you guys like left and right. All right, next up, I think it's this one. What, that was cluster. Okay, yeah. Refresh. All right, I like the colors. I like the subtle background pattern here. You're mixing fonts that work well together. Very simple, bold sans serif font, and then a nice, simple, lightweight font. I would probably reduce the amount of bold and yellow right here, just because it makes it a little bit too difficult to read. But I do like there's a good separation between the type here, so it's a good visual hierarchy. Enter prototype and let me know what you think. I'm not too much of a fan. I see some designs that do this, like they just kind of like create a card, push this all the way out, in my opinion. Although that might be a subjective thing. For the most part, all the important stuff is here. And that's pretty solid. So I like that. That was a nice kind of I really like this part as well. This is pretty solid. Not a fan of all the borders though. Kind of high contrast borders that is. It just becomes too liney when you have high contrast borders. In fact, you know what? I just came up with a new video topic. Docs.google. All right, or how to use borders. Okay. Sorry about that. Sometimes I like to note down ideas because I will forget them in the future. All right, so yeah, quite solid. Next up, streaming platform. Oh, I suck. I already did that one. Here's another Figma prototype. Over here. How are we doing time-wise? 59 minutes. All right. 173 concurrent viewers. God, like a year and a half or two ago, I was getting like 300 at least. I suck. I have to get better. You know what? Let me know what you guys think. Should I, maybe in the future, you know, I've been thinking slowly. Not slowly, thinking slowly. What am I, simple? I've been thinking lately about the potential, if that Boja series really takes off well and people like the character, and once he levels up and becomes a great designer, just making him take over the channel and like teach along with the computer. So like every episode would just be that flow. And then I would have no part in it. I don't know, I'm thinking about it. Or doing a live stream with him critiquing you. Wouldn't that be interesting? All right, what do I like about this? I thought this said we provide a safe space, and I was just making fun of safe spaces earlier in the stream, but no, safe platform. I do like the watermark, the photograph. It's a cool photograph. This type on top of it is big enough. It contrasts well enough. It's white, so that works. I do think it's a little bit too long of a headline. And I think that this over here is kind of misplaced. Your call to action doesn't quite stand out as much. I think it should probably just flow nicely from a reduced headline to a sub headline underneath it, and then a button over here. But for the most part, yeah, I do like the photograph and the watermark approach. That's going to be the thing I like most about this. I'm not too sure about making this text red, because that's kind of like a no-no. Like, you already have color here. Just make this like a black or like a dark gray or dark blue or whatever like this is. All right, next up. We'll all miss Gary. All right, next up. Is it this person? Yes, it is. I use Adobe XD, but just for its prototyping, like for my stuff. So like if I design a user interface now, I do not use Adobe XD because they won't let me change the canvas background color. It is literally just for that one reason alone. And I've talked to like the people, I forget his name, but he's an Adobe evangelist, as they call him. He works with Adobe and Adobe XD, and he said that he just told me to go to freaking their user voice thing and submit it. There's been one requesting this since the beta in 2016, literally 5 years ago, and they have no plans. He said they have no plans on allowing us to change the freaking canvas background color. Why? It's the most frustrating thing ever. All right, what do I like about this? All right, this is a very good, cool sort of video-based approach here. It looks like it's professionally shot. This over here, this is big enough, it's good enough, but I feel like it's too much of an afterthought. I think if you're gonna push it in a corner, put it in the left corner. I think that might make more sense. Just because it's too much of an afterthought over here. Oh, that's interesting. Look at this. That's really unique. Very cool. Look at that. Well, I can tell a lot of work has gone into this. Yeah, very cool. Nice stuff. Next up, Figma. I'm using Figma. All right, we have about a few more minutes left. What do I like about this? Okay, I like this font right here. I don't know what font it is because it's a static image, but I like that font. It works well. It contrasts enough with being behind this darker blue portion. But there are issues. This right here, this text gets it smaller. There's not going to be enough contrast. So you need to think about how you can adjust that. You could darken the image a little bit. There's many different things you could do. I think this logo, Wonder R, doesn't work well with this type. You know, they're both around the same size. So I would scale down the size of this logo if you're stuck with that type specifically. Scale down the size, increase slightly the size of Wonder Resort, and then it would be better, in my opinion. Next up, Abdu Web Designer. Let's refresh. Let's go English. All right. Something tells me chart was not what you intended. What do I like about it? Yeah, I mean, I really like the type. What font is it? It's Poppins. Is that my fault? Everybody's just using Poppins. I I like the colors a lot. I like the contrast. The general layout is pretty solid. I don't like that because I've talked about it. I have dedicated entire videos about this. Put those links out here. I don't want to have to click extra just to access these. Only use that where you have to, where you don't have enough space up here, like on a phone. Outside of that, yeah, pretty solid here. A little bit boxy here. I'm not sure about making this black and then it stops right here. It's a little strange. But yeah, overall pretty solid. Next up, I'm trying to rush through these. I'm not bothering with what do you call ratings and stuff like that. What is up? Bruno. What do I like about this? What font is this? Poppins. Poppins, man. Poppins is all over the place. So I like the simplicity. I like this background. I could tell it's like a dark bluish sort of color, I think. Obviously there's no imagery or photographs or icons, which is fine. I want to see though, like, wow, there's a lot of HTML elements here. Where do I change the background color? So right here. I think right around there would be a tad bit better, although I might be splitting hairs here. Yeah, I was. I think that this high right here is up too high. I think we need to push that down and center it vertically between the height of these 3 rows right here. I think that would be an improvement. If you're gonna do this hover thing, make them not come out quite as far. I think there's just too much movement when you hover. Just subtle. Project skills and contact, that's kind of like an afterthought. I don't know. Pretty risky to put your navigation right here randomly in the middle. So I would probably stick to standard conventions, put them up here. But overall, I like the simplicity. I like the type. Yeah, pretty solid. I just think there's a little bit too much white space between these areas and alignment's kind of strange in areas. But other than that, the simplicity of it is pretty solid. And I completely forgot where I was. Let me make sure. I think that's the one I just... Oh yeah, somebody already check marked it for me. Thank you. Next up, let's refresh this. All right, so what I like about this the most, this is a good watermark based photograph because it's pretty dark for the most part. Stone and Tile Professional, so it's a very relevant image because this looks like a pretty cool bathroom. Having said that though, I'm not sold on the learn more and these big borders on the top. I think simplifying things would work a little bit better. And then increasing the font size up here quite a bit. Like 4 rem or like 4.5 rem units. And then maybe even taking the width. Well, that's not working. Oh, we're using the font tag. Well, I'm just breaking it now. There we go. That doesn't look correct to me because it still doesn't look like centered, but hopefully you catch my drift. That way we could put these on a few lines and it kind of fills up the area a little bit more, and we made it larger, but it's still not, for some reason, this is not centered with professional. But I think that would be an improvement based on what was there before. I think the icons are too large as well. So you might want to rethink that. Maybe end this over here, underneath here, possibly put these outside in their own area. But I do like the most part, the photographs working well. All right. Yeah, I did that one. Okay. I need to start looking at the check marks. All right. Let's refresh this so we can start seeing this SVG Animation. It takes too long. You need to make that much faster because people don't want to sit there doing that. So what do I like the most about this? All right, so it's an interesting kind of cool sort of play on the cursor. At least you do bring it back when we hover over elements that are important. But I don't really like, I understand what you were doing with the HTML body, H1. You're kind of showing the coding there. You could possibly do that, but there's just not enough white space from the logo in this stuff, so things are really kind of cluttered. I think you could do the HTML body H1 thing you're doing, but it needs to be less opacity, so less contrast rather. So just make it almost something that you can barely see. That way we're focused on this text a little bit more, and it seems less clutterish over here. Also, I wouldn't wrap the button thing around there because the button, look at the alignment. It's just randomly placed. Kind of, it's not over to the right of this column. It looks like it might just be centered. So there's issues big time with alignment here, but I would put this over here. So I like the creative approach. I like the contrast here, but there's a few other things I think would be worth improving. All right, next up. How many? Oh. Well, Connor, you're lucky because you are the last person I'm going to do this for, or unlucky, depending on how you perceive it. The thing I like the best about this, I like the background pattern the best. I think it's really cool. It's very subtle. The lines, not high contrast, so they're not distracting, but you can see them enough to see some type of cool pattern. The white on top of it, like this works well. But moving on to the things that I think need to be improved, having your logo and then or your icon or whatever you want to call it, your illustration here and here is just redundant. So I would think of something else to put into place there. Also, I'd probably think about putting Connor Gray up here and then utilizing this headline for something much more important, like front-end web developer. That could go here instead of your name. People don't really care about your name. They want to know what you do and how you can benefit them. So so you leave your sub headline state front-end web developer, but use this headline for something that's much more salesy, that emphasizes benefits rather than features. Come up with a unique headline about how you're going to transform their business by having a great front end or great website or something like that. So you can really use that, and also having a longer headline will help fill out the space more because there's a lot of just empty space. Not enough white space between these right here, so I would space them out a little bit further than what they are currently. And then give a better call to action rather than just this little down arrow. If you're gonna have like the down indicators, I would make this a little bit smaller and then give it some movement where it's moving up and down. And some issues here with this, there's not enough contrast for the user to be able to see where they should be clicking and typing in here. So you want to increase the contrast somehow. And there's multiple ways of doing that. Honestly, I would get rid of this background color or this container. So if I take the background, get rid of that, and then we take these, and then we do a background of, I'm gonna put blue for now. I know it looks like crap, but that's just temporary. We can go like that, and then get your field labels color white, and then maybe increase the padding on the inside of these elements. Padding is just 10 pixels. That's better. And then your submit button, of course, you'll want to make sure that that stands out, and left align it. I wouldn't center it. And this here would be a lot better. So if we refresh, we'll see the original. See, you can barely even see it. All right. All right, I'm in next two. It's an awards nominee. Sorry. I'll look at the next two very, very quickly. What do I like the most about this? The simplicity, the dark background, the white text. What font is this? Man rope. We got a different type. I actually like man rope. It's pretty good. Man rope. Awesome. You know what? I just came up with a new idea for a tutorial. Best fonts for UI design. There we go. Yeah, pretty solid. Let's check out the awards nominee. Apparently it's this one. Oh God. I just got really worried because I was looking at it. I was like, there better not be like, you know, nasty stuff that starts loading. Dude, who is spamming in that chat? Oh, Florin, what is up? Florin, you're still doing like the business ideas, right? Like you're just trying to launch a bunch of startups and stuff like that. This person, I'm sorry, man. I gotta put you in a timeout. You're spamming like way too much. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think this is gonna make the awards. AWW awards. I like the unique approach to this, but there's just a number of issues here that, and I also think it's way too large and in your face. Like look at the size of this hamburger menu, which is overlapped by this element. So I would definitely. Oh, okay. Sorry, I got them mixed. Oh, well, that wasn't the second one out. That was the third one. Unreal. Ooh, look at this fancy font. I like that one. Yeah, it does. That initially it had that feel of like an awards thing. I can see it's ultra smooth scroll, which is like a requirement for every single award site. Honestly, I think I can make a video probably making fun of awards. Most of the sites in awards, they're all designed well and they're cool and stuff, but like it's like they're almost all of them use 3JS, almost all of them have smooth scrolling. Like there's definitely a trend like of what is required to get into awards, and I think that it should be revised a little bit in terms of their criteria. Yeah, what do I like here? I like this font right here. What font is that? Supreme. Nice. Yeah, that's a pretty cool font. I like that. Yeah, this is actually, yeah, it's pretty solid. I'll probably reduce the amount of smooth scroll you have. You could still have it, but I think it's just like it takes a little bit too much time. I'd like it to be a little bit more responsive in terms of the scroll. All right. I'm sorry, guys, if you didn't get to have your design reviewed. I just don't have enough time. It's already an hour and 8 minutes. You have to be there quicker. Yeah, you have to be in my channel or my Discord server. And I always mention it about an hour beforehand that I'm going to be going live. And then I open up that negative submissions channel, and then people hurry up and start submitting. So how can you assure like you people down here that I didn't get to come and idle in my server? And actually, better than idle, you need to actually, you don't need to, but it would be awesome if you would participate in conversations. And we're going to start doing weekly challenges and stuff like that soon. So yeah, awesome stuff. And I will see you all real soon. New episode of the Boja coming out. Oh, also one thing I wanted to mention, like I did a YouTube community post yesterday, and if I go to community, just check this out. I'm not going to read it all, but the general gist. By the way, I uploaded this picture just for the fun of it. and I completely didn't realize when I uploaded it that my other daughter, it looks like there's just 2 people here. My other daughter was hiding behind my wife, and she flipped us off. So she's 8 years old. But yeah, we're like that in this household. We screw with each other. We're not that serious. But anyhow, the gist of this is there's so many like, where am I at? Let me go to my channel. So many people liked my channel, or the Boja, like the first video. Now this has 10,000 views, which is decent because I've made it a part of my channel trailer, so that's why views are increasing. But this one, only 7.7K views. It's a crappy performing video, but in both of them, they both have way more engagement, way more likes and like comments and stuff than my average video. So people are seeing it and they're liking it and they're watching it, but YouTube is not featuring it and recommending it. And I think one of the things that would be helpful, it's probably I need to make maybe better thumbnails. Like the thumbnails look interesting, but between the titles and the thumbnails, it's just not happening. I need to figure that out more. But ultimately, I do need people to comment more and like on those videos, even more so than they are, so that hopefully YouTube will eventually start to promote this more, just because they're so crazy, and it's just an interesting way to learn UI design. All right, Gary, did you mean to skip mine? Cohen, I'm fairly certain I did yours because I remember that name. Cohen, I don't even see your name in here. Yeah, I don't even see your name. Well, sorry if I did skip you. Fairly certain I looked at yours because I saw your name. Let me go through here. I don't see it. Either way, it's been late. I'm sorry if I did skip you. Screenshot it in the chat after the thing and just let me know, and I'll get to it next time. I'll see you all later. Goodbye.